What up, my man in society? It is your host with the most, Shadow Loke, back at you with another video. Make sure you guys like, comment, and are subscribed to the channel. It's free. That's how you help my channel get into the algorithm. I would highly appreciate it if you go ahead and do that. Now, before we get into it, to the one subscriber who's been sending me all those emails, laughing and saying, haha, I seen you've been losing subscribers for your video where I said I don't believe in God and all that. And that's what I get, and wooty woo. That's fine. I'm not in it for the subscribers, bro. If people are gonna mess with me, they're gonna mess with me for how I truly am and for my honest opinions. I'm not gonna come here and lie to people just because it could get me subscribers and stuff like that. I'm gonna be honest. I'm not gonna ever lie, and I'm just gonna always tell it how it is, regardless of how people might view me after that, or maybe they don't want to mess with my channel. It's fine. My channel's not for everybody. So it doesn't bother me. um, you know, the fact that people call that a victory, shows that you should probably seek some help, because it says more about an individual than it does about my current situation. Of why do you feel the need that this is some victory, or it brings you some type of joy. Trying to see somebody's downfall. Says more about that individual than an individual himself. And that's one thing I wanted to talk about was psychology, right? Behind the gangster mental, right? Because he had also wrote that all his gang members are just here to mooch off of hardworking individuals' money, and that this is all a scam, another part of our scam, and another that will never change, and we're always these pieces of crap to the world, and woody woo. And this is one of the reasons why problems don't change. This is one of the reasons why the cycle continues, and why you see no progress, is because if these individuals want to change their ways, or even try to better themselves, there's a lot of people in society who think like this individual, who are not going to give these individuals an opportunity, or won't even believe them in general. One of the scenes that displays this really good, that look, I'm not too fond of like the gangster movies like Blood and Blood Out, American Me, and everything, because they're so full of so much fiction and wackiness that they're more comedies to me than actual serious movies. But anywho, when it comes to the scene where Miklo's working at his job, and then his boss is betting on the basketball game, and he loses the money, so he deducts that out of Miklo's check, because he says that Miklo's been stealing from him, even though he used that money to pay off his gambling debts. And he's like, nice story, Con. I'll call your PO. I'll give him my version, you give him your version, and we'll see who he believes. It is a perfect example of what society does, because it truly does do this. I'm not here to, be an individual that says, always playing the, gangster victim role and stuff like that. But I could only come and be honest of what society truly does, and they do behave in this manner. You know what I mean? Even though they say, why don't these individuals change? And they don't change because they're not given the opportunities or the benefit of the doubt, for that matter. You know what I mean? They're always seen as just this. But to give you an insight into the mind of an individual, us, when we're hanging around with the homeboys in the neighborhood, we have conversations, you know what I mean? We talk about stuff outside of the streets, you know what I mean? Stuff that's on the news, or, problems on the day-to-day, just like anybody else does, you know what I mean? Something maybe you catch on the news, or... So we pick each other's brains, right? And everybody has their opinions. Even though society views us as these mindless monsters who only care about doing harm to individuals and stuff like that, it's not true. There's a point to our madness. Now, it's hypocritical. It is. But there's still a point, nonetheless. Hypocrisy at its finest, but nonetheless, it's still not done for no reason. They have a point to their madness. And that point, society just won't understand, because this life is not meant to be understood. Of course you're not going to understand the mentally ill, when it comes to living this way. That's what separates you too, and that's why you just don't understand their point of view, because you're stable-minded, while they are not. It is no secret. And it's a very hard battle that just some people just, have a hard time, battling and overcoming because we all have a different way of thinking, a different mind state. Some could handle stress better than others, and etc. Right? It's all, psychological. And that is something that's very difficult. That's why I always, tell people to, seek help, get therapy. It works. It helps. There's nothing to be ashamed about. You know what I mean? Everyone needs help. Some people turn to religion. Some people turn to maybe their significant other, and maybe some relatives. But everybody needs somebody, right? So, you know, so don't even worry about what individuals might think or call you weak-minded or whatever. Those are people who don't know and just talk without knowing, and are actually some of the reasons, of what's wrong with this world. Because people think just because they're not in gangs themselves or they're not gang members and stuff like that, they think that they're good people when that's not how the world works. I mean, you could be a piece of crap individual. You could be, a bad person and not belong to no organizations, but you could still be a part of the problem, right? Because it's true. Individuals, like to throw fuel onto the fire and then wonder how come change and progress is not happening. When you have individuals in here, talking shit to these individuals, belittling them, and we could go ahead and say, well, yeah, well, they do it to everyone else, so now they can't take it away. Yeah. So now you're saying that now you're going to help and fix the problem, but now behaving like them when you're telling them to change the way they behave, you're going to behave just like them now and then wonder why there's no progress. That makes absolutely no sense whatsoever. How is that fixing the problem? How is that helping the problem? It's not. It's just now you're releasing your frustration and anger on how you see the lifestyle. So now you're only caring about yourself and how you feel after. So this is not about fixing the problem or helping the problem or none of that. You're a part of the problem. So therefore, when people say how come they don't change and stuff like that, or wonder why they're snapping or even tripping, and it's like, well, look how you're coming at them, bro. How is that gonna fix any type of problem by calling them stupid and morons and and anything like that? Instead of understanding, maybe why they became this way in the first place, getting to that problem and fixing that way, this problem stops occurring. You worrying about what made these individuals focus on that problem. That way, individuals don't become that way. Can't do anything about the problem that's already here. You get what I'm saying? But work on now building the future better. And because I have always said this, most gang members' kids don't end up becoming gang members. And a majority of the time, gang members' families are not gang related whatsoever. You know what I mean? Because these individuals know what makes them this way, and they do the opposite now. That way their kids don't turn out the same way. But society doesn't want to view it from that angle because you're not going to blame the people who are not gang related or who are good people. The problem. I'm not throwing the blame on them. I'm saying, to get to an understanding of what occurred, and how to fix it, because they might have their own problems, themselves. I'm not saying that they're doing this on purpose and stuff like that, but they themselves don't truly understand what's going on or why their kids became this way. You know what I mean? Because they're looking for exception. They're looking for family. They're looking for comfort. That's what they're seeking out there in the streets because they feel like they don't have it at home. And why do they feel that way? Why does a 13, 12, 11-year-old kid doesn't care if he lives or dies? Why is that? That's not a kid who feels like he's coming from a loving home if he has that type of mind state and is tackling those problems. It's difficult being a parent. It's very important. It's what I always tell individuals. It's not an easy task. They should be giving classes about this because there's a lot of individuals who do a lot of stuff, and it's crazy that they don't even see it. But maybe because they feel like they're not bad people because they don't belong in gangs, that they feel like they're doing nothing wrong. Truly sad. But overall, like I said, when individuals, feel the need to behave in this manner and thinking, or wondering why there's no solutions or why the problem is still occurring is baffling. You know what I mean? Because they're not, like I said, if you're not part of the solution, then you're a part of the problem. Overall, when we're talking about, these individuals, because a lot of people say, and I understand about the YouTube thing, he was saying that, cons. I'm not saying that they're not. There's no cons out there. There is. There's some people that don't learn it. There's some people that are just shady people in this world. You know what I mean? There is. Um, but that's not to say that they're all like that, or there isn't that are some that are humble and stuff like that. And if they are here for monetization gain, I mean, if that's what they want to choose to do, then it's in their rights. You know, I don't understand why. How could I say why it bothers you so much? Now I can understand from the sense like me, for example, if they say they're not in it for the monetization, but they are in it for the monetization, that bothers me only on the simple fact that it's like, why did you have to lie? It's the lie that bothers me. Instead of if he would have came out and said it's, he's in it for the monetization, then it's cool, get your money. But when they lie and say they're not in it for the monetization when they are, then that is when it bothers me, because it's like, why did you lie? Lies bother me because like there's no need for them. So it's like, why did you do it? It's one thing that just, the lies is what bothers me. I hate people that lie. And there's a lot of them, unfortunately on YouTube, that I could spot. But hey, if they want to keep cheating it, like I said, it always going to come back. It's a ticking time bomb that's just waiting to blow up before something comes crashing down. Because that's truly what a lie is, a ticking time bomb. Just waiting for it to detonate. Because it's going to happen. You know what I mean? It always happens. Might take a while, but it's going to happen. Shit, it could even happen after death. And it could tarnish your reputation after that. Lying is never good. But overall, this is just, to get an idea of the mental. Some individuals have changed because, like I said, a lot of these individuals, when they're committing these crimes and these, it stems from childhood trauma, right? So it delays, the growth of the brain process. That's why these individuals behave in these manners. But there comes to the point where your brain does develop and now they feel, remorse. They feel, guilty. And a lot of them that's why you see a lot of them, change their lives around, get back to the communities, because it does start to take away at you, because now that part of the brain, now you truly finally understand everything, right? Because now that part of the brain develops, like I said, people have to understand the brain, how it works in order to get a better idea of the understanding of why these individuals behave in the manner they behave in. You know what I mean? There's a reason why the drinking age is at a certain age, and smoking, or when you're considered an adult and when you're not, or why it's nasty for a 28-year-old to be with a 16-year-old. It's understanding the mental of a child and an adult. You get what I mean? So a lot of these people do end up changing their lives around and wanting to get back, but society makes it difficult because they still view them as these type of individuals. You know what I mean? When, people grow up, you know what I mean? People evolve, with time. But society chooses to still hold their vendettas, their, ill behaviors or ill thoughts, their anger towards these individuals that, makes it difficult for these individuals to even be why change? What does it matter? They're still going to see me as a piece of crap. So what does it even matter? You get what I mean? But overall, giving something, for people to think about. Leave your opinions in the comments. What do you guys think about the overall subject? I'm Shadow. We out.